All right, so are you ready to like dive into this whole world of the Gulfstream G700?
Always ready for takeoff.
I mean, and I think we both know, our listeners, they're pretty savvy when it comes to aviation. So we're not going to do like, luxury jet 101 here. We're going deeper, right?
Absolutely.
We're talking about cutting edge tech, performance that, I don't know, is kind of mind-boggling, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
And, all the features that make like even first class seem like you're flying in economy. We've got Gulfstream's brochures, specs, the whole shebang, right?
Yeah.
And I got to say, some of this stuff is seriously impressive.
Well, and it's interesting, I think, because it's not just about, a status symbol. It's really like a glimpse into what I think business travel will become.
Yeah.
Where efficiency and comfort are really at the top of the list.
Yeah, totally. Well, let's just jump right in then, huh?
Yeah.
What about the performance?
Yeah, so let's talk about the range on this thing. It can cover 7,750 nautical miles.
Yeah.
Which, to kind of put that into perspective, that's like flying from New York to Tokyo without needing to refuel.
No layovers.
Okay.
Now you're speaking my language. Maximizing that productivity.
Yeah, for sure. And that's just standard cruising speed. So if you're in a real hurry, it can get up to Mach 0.90.
Wait, Mach 0.90. We're talking like almost the speed of sound.
Right.
I mean, talk about getting things done quickly.
And it's not just about speed, it's also reliability, right? It's grabbed over 50 world speed records, and all those efficient flight hours mean less downtime for maintenance, too.
Okay, so that's fast, that's efficient, but like what about comfort? We are talking about a luxury jet, right?
Right. And comfort is definitely not an afterthought here. This thing has the largest cabin in the industry. Forget spacious, it's practically a flying penthouse. Think about it. Up to 5 separate living areas, designed however you want.
5 living areas? I can't even wrap my mind around that. I'm picturing like a luxurious bedroom suite with a full shower, maybe a dedicated dining area so you can, enjoy those gourmet meals. A fully equipped office, of course. Got to keep those deals rolling in.
Of course. And then don't forget about a crew compartment, right?
Oh, yeah?
I mean, they need their own comfortable space, too, which in the end makes it a much smoother and more enjoyable experience for everyone on board.
Right. Speaking of enjoyable, did you see those windows?
Yeah.
20 panoramic oval windows. I mean, the biggest in Bizarre. Can you imagine those views?
That is what you call a room with a view. And it's not just about aesthetics. Natural light is so important for fighting jet lag and, just boosting your well-being over hard.
It's like bringing the outdoors in, right?
Right.
Even at 41,000 feet.
Right. And speaking of altitude, you're up that high, but the cabin pressure is like you're at 2,140 feet, which is the lowest in the industry. And that means less fatigue, less jet lag for you.
So you're telling me I can step off this plane and, actually feel like a human being? Like I can hit the ground running instead of like crawling out of a flying sardine can.
Yeah, you got it.
That's amazing.
And then there's the air quality, which, forget that stuffy recycled air you find on those commercial flights. This has this whole system that is constantly refreshing the air. It's 100% fresh air, and get this, it's also plasma ionized.
Plasma ionized. That sounds very high tech. What does that even do?
Well, it's all about creating the healthiest, most invigorating environment, right?
Yeah.
So it cleans the air of impurities, allergens, so you can breathe easy. You're going to arrive feeling refreshed and energized.
It's like a flying spa in terms of air quality.
I mean, pretty much.
That is impressive. But, okay, enough about the pampered passengers.
Right?
What about the people actually flying this thing? Like, what's the cockpit like?
Yeah. Well, the pilots aren't exactly roughing it either. The G700 has this award-winning Gulfstream Symmetry flight deck. It's all about intuitive touchscreen avionics and then these active control side sticks.
Okay, hold on. Active control side sticks.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. What are those and why are they so important?
Well, it's basically a much more responsive and intuitive way for the pilots to control the aircraft. It's like a fly-by-wire system where whatever the pilot inputs gets translated into these electronic signals that control the flight surfaces. So a more precise and comfortable flying experience, and it also ends up enhancing safety by preventing those pilots from doing anything that could, exceed the aircraft's limits.
So it's like having a super smart co-pilot that's like always double checking everything.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
That's awesome.
And then there's the combined vision system, CVS.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Explain it to me like I'm 5, though. What exactly does it do?
Okay, so imagine landing in, I don't know, a new city, and there's like this thick fog. You can barely see anything, right?
Right.
But with CVS, those pilots can basically see through it using this combo of infrared cameras and this synthetic vision system that creates a 3D terrain map.
So it's like X-ray vision for landing.
Pretty much.
That's got to be a huge safety boost, especially when you're dealing with, tricky weather.
It is. It means you can land at more airports and you're less likely to have those delays or diversions because of bad weather.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Okay, so the CVS is all about enhancing visibility. But the G700 also has this thing called the Predictive Landing Performance System, right?
Right.
What is that all about?
So that's another safety feature. And it's really about preventing runway overruns or, other landing incidents. And what it does is it analyzes all these different things like the aircraft's weight, speed, flap settings, and the runway conditions to give those pilots real-time info about how far the plane is predicted to go before it stops.
So it's kind of like a virtual co-pilot too.
Right.
It's like analyzing the landing and going, hey, you need to adjust your approach, before it becomes a problem.
Exactly. It's all about being proactive, right?
Yeah.
Giving those pilots as much info as possible to ensure a smooth and safe landing.
So it sounds like the G700 has safety covered, like from takeoff to touchdown.
Yeah, I think so.
But let's be real, all this advanced tech, it's got to come with a pretty hefty price tag, right?
Well, yeah, of course. We are talking about the top tier of private aviation here.
Yes.
But it's important to remember, for some people, for some businesses, this isn't just a luxury, it's a strategic investment.
Right.
It's an investment. Think about it. Time is money. And the G700 is all about saving time, right?
Yeah.
So fewer layovers, shorter flight times, that leads to increased productivity. All that adds up to a pretty significant return on investment.
Yeah. It's not just about, being fancy. It's about that efficiency and that strategic advantage.
Exactly. It's an investment in a tool that can really help you reach new heights in your business.
Speaking of reaching new heights, those record-breaking speeds, Mach 0.90. Seriously impressive. Was there anything in the materials about how they achieved that?
Well, it all starts with those powerful Rolls-Royce Pearl 700 engines.
Okay.
Each one generates over 18,000 pounds of thrust.
Wow. That's like strapping a rocket to each wing.
Right.
But all that power, it's got to come at the expense of fuel efficiency, right?
Well, not necessarily. The Pearl 700 engines are actually surprisingly fuel efficient for how powerful they are. They use all these innovative technologies like advanced aerodynamics and a super efficient combustion system.
So they're not just powerful, they're smart too.
Right.
That's good news for the bottom line and for the environment, right?
Absolutely. And speaking of the environment, Gulfstream, they've really made a conscious effort to make sure that the G700 is as, minimally impactful as it can be. So they focus on that aerodynamic efficiency, reducing drag, and then they've incorporated, more sustainable practices in their manufacturing and just how they operate overall.
So it's not just luxurious and high performing, it's also designed, with sustainability in mind.
Right.
Which is pretty commendable.
Yeah.
Let's circle back, though, to something that we touched on a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
That focus on passenger well-being.
Right.
It seems like that's like a key differentiator for the G700.
I think so, absolutely. And, it's not just about getting you from point A to point B as quickly as possible, but it's making sure that when you arrive, you actually feel, refreshed.
Right.
You're energized, you're ready to face whatever's waiting for you at your destination.
Right, because let's be honest, most long-haul flights, they leave you feeling totally drained and depleted. You've got those cramped seats, that recycled air, the constant noise. It's no wonder you often arrive feeling, worse than when you left.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And that's where the G700 really sets itself apart. They've thought about every single aspect of that passenger experience to minimize those negative effects that you're talking about.
Yeah, we talked about, the lower cabin altitude, the fresh ionized air. That's a game changer. What else have they done to, create this kind of like sanctuary in the sky feeling?
Well, the spacious cabin, the comfy seating, obviously huge.
Yeah.
But they've also gone above and beyond to really minimize noise and vibration, and even the lighting. They've thought about it. It's all designed to help you relax, reduce eye strain.
Oh, wow. It sounds like they've thought of everything.
They have. They even have this circadian rhythm lighting that adjusts during the flight to help regulate, your natural sleep-wake cycles.
So it's like having, like a wellness coach on board.
It is.
That's wild. That's so thoughtful.
It is. It's all about recognizing that just because you're traveling doesn't mean you're wasting time. You can actually use that time to rest, recharge, and arrive feeling your best.
I love that. Turning travel time into, productive or even restorative time.
Exactly. It's about understanding that, feeling good, that's not a luxury.
Yeah.
It's like essential for success.
Totally. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about, the G700's performance, the luxurious features, that commitment to sustainability, that focus on passenger well-being. But I want to explore one more area.
Okay.
And that's the technology in the cockpit.
Okay.
We talked about those active control side sticks,
Right.
the combined vision system, but I want to go a little bit deeper into how these technologies actually enhance both safety and just the flying experience.
Yeah, happy to elaborate on that.
Okay, so let's start with those active control side sticks. For those of us who aren't, pilots,
Right.
can you break down how they work and why they're so different from, those traditional yokes?
Yeah. So the active control side sticks, they're part of this fly-by-wire system, which basically means that the pilot's inputs are sent electronically to the flight control computers, which then adjust those control surfaces.
Okay.
So it's different from traditional yokes where the connection between the pilot and those surfaces is actually mechanical.
So it's more direct.
Yeah, it's more direct, more responsive.
Yeah.
Because those electronic signals, they travel way faster than any mechanical linkage, right? So that allows for more precise control inputs. And that's especially helpful in, critical situations where you need a very fast response.
And in terms of safety, how do these side sticks actually enhance that?
So the cool thing is that fly-by-wire system has something called flight envelope protection, which basically means those computers, they'll stop the pilot from doing anything that could exceed the plane's limits or cause a stall, right? So it's like having this built-in safety net that's constantly watching and adjusting the pilot's inputs to keep the aircraft within those safe operating parameters.
So it's like having, I don't know, a guardian angel on board.
Yeah, exactly. And, it adds that extra layer of safety, and it really helps to prevent pilot error from becoming something dangerous.
Yeah, that's really reassuring, especially, with all the speeds, the distances we're talking about here. What about that combined vision system then?
Right.
We mentioned that it enhances visibility in those low visibility conditions, but can you really explain how it works?
Yeah. So the CBS combines two different systems, the enhanced vision system, EVS, and then the synthetic vision system, so SVS.
Okay.
The EVS uses this infrared camera, and it can detect heat sources. So you can see through the darkness, fog, any of those visual obstructions.
So it's like giving pilots night vision.
It is, but for all kinds of weather conditions, right?
Oh,
so they can see things that they wouldn't normally be able to see, which is so valuable when you're landing in those tricky situations.
In the synthetic vision system, what's that one do?
So that one creates this 3D terrain map of the area around the plane using data from the navigation systems. And then that map is displayed on the pilot's head-up display, so the HUD.
Right.
And it gives them this really clear picture of the terrain, any obstacles, the runway layout.
So even when you can't see anything outside, it's like having this real-time 3D map projected right onto the windshield.
This is.
That's amazing.
And when you combine those two systems, the EVS and the SVS, you get this total comprehensive view of your environment, even in the toughest conditions.
It's amazing how technology is making aviation safer and more efficient than ever.
It really is. It's remarkable. And the G700 is really leading the way. It's using the latest and greatest technologies to really make flying better for both, the pilots and the passengers.
Well, okay, so we've talked about performance, the luxurious cabin, that commitment to sustainability, and the technology in the cockpit. But with all this, is there anything this aircraft can't do?
Well, I don't think it can make a cup of coffee.
Right.
But
fair enough.
It does have a really state-of-the-art galley, so your crew can whip up whatever you want.
That's a very good point. But to be more serious for a second, are there any limitations that we should be aware of? Or, potential drawbacks to consider?
Yeah, of course. No aircraft is perfect, right? So the G700, because it's so large, it's got these powerful engines, it does need a longer runway for takeoff and landing compared to those smaller jets.
So it might not be suitable for every single airport.
Exactly. And, the range is impressive, but it's not infinite, right? So there might be some, very long haul routes that would need a fuel stop depending on, how much weight you have and what the weather is doing.
Right, so you have to factor that in when planning your, around the world trip.
Right.
Okay. But overall, it seems like the G700 is pretty darn close to being like the ultimate biz jet.
It is. It really is a feat of engineering and design. It's really pushing those boundaries in private aviation.
With all this talk about, technology, performance, luxury, have we kind of, lost sight of the human element of travel?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
I think it's so important to remember that technology, it's a tool, right? And it's up to us to decide how we use it and to use it in a way that enhances our lives and our experiences.
Right. It's not about replacing human connection with all this tech.
Yeah.
But using the tech to facilitate those connections.
Exactly.
Make travel, more meaningful, more enjoyable.
And I think the G700, with its focus on well-being and comfort, actually does encourage those connections.
Yeah.
When you're relaxed, you're refreshed, you're energized, you're much more open to interacting with people and creating those, memorable moments.
That's a good point. It's really about shifting the focus from just the journey, to those experiences and the people that we connect with along the way.
Exactly. And that's often lost, in today's world of travel. You know how it is.
For sure. Okay, well, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about, design and aesthetics.
Okay.
We mentioned those panoramic oval windows.
Yeah.
But what about the overall interior design?
Right.
What kind of vibe are we getting?
Well, it's definitely luxurious, but it's very modern, it's sophisticated.
Okay.
They've used high-quality materials and finishes to create this sense of, elegance and refinement.
So it's not just about, bling being over the top.
No, it's not.
Right.
It's really understated elegance. It's that timeless style.
Yeah.
And it's about creating a space that's both comfortable and inspiring.
I like that. And how customizable is it? Can you really create those 5 distinct living areas that we talked about earlier?
Oh, absolutely. And that's one of the things that makes the G700 so unique. They offer a huge range of configurations and customization
Wow.
to fit every owner's needs.
So you can have a dedicated office space, a private cinema, a full-size bedroom suite, even a gym or a spa on board.
I mean, the possibilities are pretty much endless. It's all about creating that sanctuary in the sky that reflects you, your style, your needs.
That's incredible. So it's like taking your home, your office with you, but with the added bonus of those incredible views.
Exactly. It's about transforming the travel experience into something really special.
Okay, so we've talked about the luxury, the performance capabilities, the technology, but let's be real, most of us will probably never have the opportunity to, step foot on one of these things.
Right.
So why should we care?
Yeah.
What can we learn from the G700 that we can apply to our own lives? Even if we're not billionaires, jet setting off to exotic locations.
Well, I think it serves as inspiration.
Yeah.
A reminder that it is possible to push those boundaries of what's possible,
Yeah.
To create something truly exceptional and to always, shoot for excellence.
It's about setting those high standards, and not just with material things, but everything we do.
Right. And it's about recognizing that well-being is important, sustainability is important.
Yeah.
And creating, a positive impact on the world around us.
Those are values that we can all, aspire to no matter, our background or how we live.
Exactly. And I think the G700, it shows that. It's not just about luxury and extravagance. It's about innovation. It's about efficiency. It's about creating a better future for aviation and for the planet.
I love that.
Yeah.
So even if we never get to actually experience G700 ourselves, we can still learn from it and apply its principles to our own lives.
Yeah, it's about dreaming big, setting ambitious goals, and just constantly trying to improve ourselves in the world around us.
Okay, so we've talked about the G700 as this symbol of innovation, luxury, well-being, but I'm curious, what about the future?
Yeah.
Where do we go from here?
Right.
What's the next big thing in private aviation?
That is a great question, and that is the hot topic in the industry. A lot of people think the future is supersonic business jets, so we can travel even faster and reach, even further destinations.
Supersonic private jets. Come on, that would be a total game changer.
It would, but, there are some big challenges there, things like noise pollution,
Right.
fuel efficiency. You've got to think about those.
Right. Those are very important considerations. What other, innovations are kind of on the horizon?
Well, there's a lot of talk about, electric and hybrid electric propulsion systems and a lot of advancements in autonomous flight technology.
Wait, autonomous flight, are we talking pilotless private jets?
Yeah. It's still pretty early. It's being developed.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a possibility for the future.
Wow. I can't even wrap my head around that. It sounds like the future of private aviation is going to be, like, insane.
It really is. It's very exciting. And I think the G700, with that technology, the passenger well-being focus is really kind of paving the way for these future innovations.
It's setting a new standard for what's possible, in terms of both the technology and the experience.
It is.
And it's kind of making us reimagine, what travel could be.
Yeah.
It's not just about getting from one place to another, but it's about those experiences you have and connecting with the world in new ways.
I love that.
Okay, so as we're kind of wrapping up our deep dive into the G700, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought-provoking question.
All right, let's hear it.
If you could design your ideal workspace or living space inside a G700, what would it look like? How would you take advantage of all those, unique features and capabilities?
Well, that is a great question. I think I would go for something that's both functional and tranquil. Okay. So maybe a minimalist workspace, clean lines, and then those big windows showcasing those amazing views.
Yeah, I can totally see you on that.
Of course, I need that high-speed internet connection, got to stay connected, productive while cruising at those speeds. And then for those moments when I just need to relax, I'd have a whole area just for that. Plush seating, ambient lighting, maybe even a virtual fireplace for that cozy feel.
Ooh, a virtual fireplace. I love that idea. So it's all about having a space that caters to both, your work needs and those well-being needs.
Exactly. What about you? What would you design?
Well, you know me. I'm all about that, cozy and creative vibe. I think I'd go with a bohemian kind of studio, maybe an art corner stocked with all my supplies.
Oh, I love that.
So surrounded by vibrant colors, all those textures, let those creative juices flow.
I can totally see you there.
And of course, a comfy reading nook, tucked away by one of those huge windows, perfect for curling up with a good book, maybe a cup of tea, just taking in the view.
It's amazing how the G700, makes us think differently and reimagine what's possible in those spaces, even at 41,000 feet.
It's not just a plane, right?
Yeah.
It's like this blank canvas for creating whatever environment we want, whether we're working, relaxing, or just, enjoying the ride.
It is.
So listeners, we want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Head over to our website, our social media, and share your G700 dream space designs.
Right.
Let's see what incredible ideas you come up with.
We can't wait to see what you come up with. And with that, it's time for us to sign off.
Yeah.
We hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into the world of the Gulfstream G700.
It's been a blast exploring this technological marvel with you all.
It has.
Until next time, keep looking up, keep dreaming big, and keep pushing those boundaries of what's possible.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us on this amazing journey.
Yes, thank you.
We'll see you next time for another deep dive into the world of, innovation and technology.
Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep dreaming big.
It really does make you rethink what luxury travel can actually be.
Yeah, right. It's not just about, all the fancy stuff. It's really about creating an experience that, thinks about your well-being.
Exactly. Arriving refreshed, ready to go, not totally drained and jet lagged. And honestly, I think that's something we can all keep in mind, even if we're not, flying in a G700.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. It's about putting that well-being first, no matter where you are or how you're traveling.
Right. And recognizing those small things, good lighting, fresh air, just a comfortable environment. They make a huge difference in how you feel, how you perform.
That's so true. So even if, our next trip is on a regular, commercial flight, we can still try to make it better for ourselves,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Pack a good travel pillow, bring those noise-canceling headphones, maybe even a meditation app to help you relax during the flight.
Great tips. It's all about being proactive, taking charge of your own experience.
Exactly. And speaking of taking control, let's go back to those safety features on the G700 for a minute. We talked about the combined vision system, the predictive landing performance system, but, what other safety innovations are they kind of proud of?
Well, one thing that I thought was really cool is how much they focus on pilot training. They've got this incredible facility where pilots can train in a full motion simulator.
Oh, wow.
It replicates everything about flying the G700.
Yeah.
Different weather conditions, even emergency scenarios.
They're so important, especially with an aircraft this advanced, right, the more those pilots are prepared, the safer everyone is.
Absolutely. And then beyond the training, they've also got all these redundant systems.
Oh, right.
So that if one thing fails, there's a backup ready to go.
Redundancy is like essential in aviation. It's all about reducing that risk of like
Right.
one little thing causing a huge problem.
So it sounds like they've really gone all out to make the G700 as safe as they possibly can.
Yeah, they really have. And that just shows, how committed they are to doing things right, to really taking care of those passengers.
Okay, so we've talked about luxury, performance, tech, and safety. But there's one more thing I want to touch on, and that's kind of the G700's impact on the industry as a whole.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
How do you see it kind of changing things?
Well, I think it's like setting a new standard for what business aviation can be.
Right.
Other manufacturers are going to have to up their game if they want to compete with this level of innovation and luxury. Right.
I think you're right. It's raising the bar for everybody, which honestly is good for everyone, right?
Yeah.
Passengers get those more comfy, more efficient travel experiences. And then the manufacturers, they're pushed to make, more advanced and sustainable aircraft.
It's a win-win.
Yeah.
The G700 is not just like a cool plane. It's really a catalyst for progress and innovation in the whole industry.
That's a great way to put it. It's
Yeah.
really pushing what we thought was possible and inspiring, the next generation of designers and engineers.
And who knows what awesome innovations we'll see, in the coming years, all thanks to the G700's influence.
Yeah. The future of aviation is looking pretty exciting.
It really is. Okay, well, I think we've covered just about everything there is to know about the Gulfstream G700.
Yeah, we really went deep on this one.
We did. And it's been a really fascinating journey.
It has. It's not every day we get to, take a look at something like this.
Right. So for our listeners, who are now maybe dreaming of having their own G700, any, parting words of wisdom?
Well, if you've got the means, I'd say go for it. The G700 is an exceptional aircraft. That combo of luxury, performance, innovation, you can't really beat it.
But even if, a private jet isn't in the cards right now,
Right.
there are still things we can take away from all of this, right?
Definitely. It's a reminder that we can all strive for excellence, we can push those boundaries, and we can make a difference in the world around us.
So well said. So the next time you're feeling stuck, just think about the G700.
Right.
Think about that sleek design, those powerful engines, and that commitment to innovation.
And how it's constantly pushing the limits.
And, most importantly, remember that it's always possible to reach those new heights, to create something extraordinary, and to really make your mark on the world.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, thanks for joining us on this incredible journey.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
We'll see you next time for another deep dive into the world of, all things innovation and technology.
Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and like we said, keep dreaming big.
Absolutely.